I'm Kimberly Woodard with Ebby Halliday Realtors, and I'm so excited Gracie with Mortgage Beyond is here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me again.
Yes. Well, let's talk. So I know everyone is starting to get in their mailbox those dreaded county tax appraisal values on their home. So let's talk about that. And when they open that up and they maybe are sticker shock on the numbers that they see, how should they really be reading this document?
Well, I think the timing is a little crazy. April 15th tax day.
Yes.
And then in 2 weeks we're getting the mail, and I'm literally scared of going to the mailbox and I don't want to open, because the truth is, you and I have talked about real estate is one of the key vehicles to build wealth.
Right.
But the only downside of owning a home is your property value most likely is expected to go up.
Correct.
And look at that as a positive note, and I understand that it does have some financial strength to it, because you're probably thinking that I purchased this home for $400,000 and now it's $450,000 I need to pay a higher property taxes. So Kimberly and I are here to share some tips on how you can lower your property taxes.
Yes.
So wouldn't it be a good idea if you continue to hold on to an asset, which is your home, that it will appreciate for you, and then there's some ways that you can control, not necessarily reduce the taxes every single year, but you can control what you can control.
Well, let's talk about exemptions. I know a lot of people don't even know that they can, one exemption is homestead.
Yes.
And so let's dive into the homestead exemption and how you qualify for that.
Okay. So I can tell you that part of our post-closing service we do is we reach out to our clients who just purchased a home as their primary. If you purchase an investment or second home, unfortunately you don't qualify for that. But as a primary owner, that you absolutely qualify for homestead. There's no way that the county will turn your application down. That's another question. Is how do I know if my application will be accepted? There's no question. As long as you provide your driver's license to show the address matches with the address you own, a property, then your application will be approved. And the easiest way to do that is just go on your local county website and click on a homestead exemption application.
Yep.
And here you go. Like, you can do an online form and you can scan in a copy of your driver's license. And normally it would take about how long? 30?
It's usually about 30 days. The processing, it is free. So do know that it is free. I know a lot of times people start getting stuff in the mail that a company will be filing it for you, just send in $50. It is completely free. So go to your county website to get those applications.
Yes. And if you have been living in the home for a number of years, and maybe at one point you did file for homestead exemption, as of last year, Texas actually made a change that your homestead exemption don't automatically just stay on the property. You will have to go to the website and then see if it's still on there. If it's not, you need to renew the homestead exemption. So the county actually put that responsibility on you. And that is a huge way to make sure that you're getting the best savings possible and you're paying the lowest property. We always want to pay the lowest tax,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely.
So this is the best way to make sure you're paying the lowest tax. Let's talk about veterans. Let's talk about over 65 and all those special exemptions that most people don't know.
Over 65, that is, you might as well throw a party. I can't wait till my husband
AARP.
So we'll be throwing a party. Anyways, this is only a couple of years from now. Anyways, the year that you're turning 65, you get to apply. So, get ready. If you're in that boat, or this year is, you can go, even if your birthday is in October, you can file now for that over 65 exemption. And it is going to freeze those taxes, which is awesome.
Significantly.
So that's the best thing. That's the best present.
And I think in our last episode, we talked about veterans. Veterans can purchase a home with 0% down payment.
Yes.
And another huge benefit that veteran doesn't always think about is after you purchase the home, if you have any disability, it could be 10%, 15%, 25%. Every county is a little bit different, so you do need to go to a county website to check their policy and procedures, but you get additional savings on your property tax. And in some counties, they will waive your property taxes completely. Right. And that is what, on average, $6,000 or $7,000 a year that you don't have to pay.
No, I mean, there's so many different exemptions. And we also have people there that are sitting, and I learned this, that, you know, if you're over 65, how you can roll up to about 40% into your next property. So there's more information on that. There's different things that the counties just don't want to advertise that you can take advantage of that will allow you to lower your taxes without really protesting the values.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the protest.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
So then, say you're the one where maybe you're an investor and you're seeing all your properties, so you don't qualify for any of these exemptions. You're a perfect candidate. You know, how do you protest, you know, these, you know, values that, you know, you want to get some money, you know, reduced?
Yeah. So speaking of protest, I think that, in my opinion, there's a few ways you can do it. Yeah. The process does seem to be a little intimidating. I can tell you that personally, I have protested my properties 10 times. I have no shame in this game, right? It's all about information. So the way that I think it's probably good to share with our viewers, like, you know, how did the county appraise their value and who assessed the value? So just think about this way. The county has their own county appraisers. Those people are licensed appraisers that hired by the county. And in the beginning of the year, really right after January 1st through May sometimes, you will never notice this, but there's people driving around in your neighborhood. They're looking at home by home, including your house. And they're looking at the conditions from outside. They will never knock on your door, but they are looking at the conditions from, you know, your yard, your structure. And what they do is once they drive through your neighborhood, each appraiser probably covers, you know, a handful of neighborhoods, right? So once they drive through like a neighborhood, maybe with 100 homes, they will go back to their office and they will run the sales comparable data just like a licensed realtor would run.
Correct.
And then they will build their case of what they think each home is valued at based on the recent sales price. So the county appraisers do have information just like a real estate agent. I think it's a myth, like someone would say, no, only real estate agent have access to see how much that particular home was sold for.
Yeah,
the licensed appraisers do.
They do have access to our MLS system, that's what houses all our data for the solds.
Yes.
So they are using that. But then the question arises, how do I protest mine? You know, I know my house is not, you know, as updated as the one down the street that sold for a lot more if I put mine on the market today.
Yeah.
It wouldn't sell for that.
Yeah.
What your next steps is to get with your real estate professional. You give me a call, send me a message. I'm happy to help you. I help lots of my clients with getting comps because you need to have those sales comps for your immediate neighborhood, because that's what they're going to look at. If it's outside the neighborhood, they're not going to consider that, but it needs to be in the neighborhood of those sales. And you want to go back. I usually go back the full year and sometimes in the beginning into the following. So I would go January 1 of 2024 all the way up to about February of 2025. Because those appraisers will look at some of that data and run those comps for you. And then go in. A lot of times if you just go in and do the protest, you may get at least something off just because you're showing an effort.
Yes.
I'm not guaranteeing you anything though.
Well, you don't want to go in there without any data to
Correct.
back up your opinion about the value. But I just mentioned that when the county appraisers go around your neighborhood, because they don't have the right to come into your home, they never have any clue of what the interior looks like.
Right.
So if you are going, if you're looking at the pictures that Kimberly sent you for the last 12 months, and the neighbor probably sold their home for $50,000 higher than what your house is worth, but your house does not have the same upgrades of kitchen appliances, that is something that is such a strong argument point with appraiser that they can't say anything about it because they did not have access to that information. And that is just an easy protest to me.
So maybe take a picture of your kitchen in a disarray.
Look. Or if you're dealing with foundation issues, if you're dealing with irrigation issues, you're dealing with termite issues that your house is deteriorating.
Right.
That is something that by driving by your home, the county appraiser just won't know. And so just one last piece of advice that I'll give to the homeowners is when you go into that room of protesting your value, there's 3 to 4 people that sit on the board. Those people are not anyone that's hired by the county official. They are actually the local residents. So they're unbiased. They do want to hear your side of the story, and they will ask the local county appraiser to show the data they run. And it's just a matter of coming together to see what's fair and then what's reasonable.
So again, if you are looking to protest your taxes, send us a message. I'm happy to run you comps for your particular home, and hopefully we wish you all the best on a successful protest.